He's the mindful man reading another chapter of Ghost School. Back in the headmaster's study, he was pouring a glass of wine for his lady companion. She was looking stunning in an elaborate white dress and wearing a dazzling pearl necklace, which matched her white smile. He sat back in his swiveling big fat leather chair and watched her take a big gulp. That was delicious, she said. Now what's for dessert? You are, he said with a smile which turned to a sneer. At first she smiled and then she looked puzzled. Her head was spinning and she was gripped by a terrible headache. How's it going, darling? He said mockingly. She couldn't speak and foam was bubbling at her mouth. She was wiping at her mouth madly and then she fell like timber onto the plush carpet, dead as a dodo. What a wonderful evening, he said, straightening his tie. He pressed a button in his drawer and a trapdoor opened beneath her and she fell 20 feet below onto the cold hard cellar floor. By now she was his third victim and he was now a serial killer. Not that anyone would suspect. He finished his own glass, which was obviously poison-free, and pondered on how he could cover up another murder. At least there was no police on the lookout, and the only people he had to worry about were those pesky pupils milling about, spoiling his good time. He didn't know who they were, but he knew he would find out. The wine was lovely, and he was in a good mood. He didn't know why he'd killed 3 people, but he knew he enjoyed it. The next few days would be difficult, as he would be asked questions, and he may have a little explaining to do. He was the headmaster, and he was in charge of the whole school and every person in it. He chuckled to himself and took another sip. They're like mice in a cage, he thought. Every now and then they fell into his trap. He sat back in his office chair and he had another gulp of wine and fell into a deep sleep. Tom and Lucy discussed how they could reveal the headmaster's secrets, and they decided to tell his new secretary tomorrow. She must be told, Lucy said. She's in danger. Little did they know that it was too late. James and Nan think the same thing, but we're too busy kissing and cuddling to do much about it. Later that evening, James said he wasn't worried about the repercussions, as he was already dead, after a fashion, so he had little to worry about. Anne wasn't so sure. Dying once was bad enough. She didn't want to go through it again. It got late and James went back to his room. He needed to sleep as he had a busy day tomorrow exposing the headmaster. The next morning they were all in the canteen, when they all heard the shocking news that his secretary was missing. The head addressed them all and he asked anyone if they could offer any information. He wiped the tears from his eyes. Crocodile tears, thought Lucy as she watched his performance. He was a great actor and looked so believable, it was scary. Hope you enjoyed this chapter. Please sub me.